Hello, BookTube, and welcome to Friday Reads. It's June 10th, and I'll go through the books that I've read this week and what I plan on reading next week, but also a few new arrivals as well. Continuing on with the Future History Project, read the final two volumes of Isaac Asimov's Robot Cities. This is Refuge by Rob Chilson. That was number 5. And number 6, Perihelion by William F. Wu. Now, I've done videos separately for these, so if you're interested in knowing more about those volumes, then do check those out. I also finished reading a short story collection by none other than A.E. Van Vogt, and I started this last week with reading the first short story. And I sort of read this when I had a little bit of time throughout the week. And there was, the very last story called Asylum. I'd forgotten about that. I didn't forget about the story, but there was always a vampire story that I could never put my finger on. This was it. I don't know if it was in this volume that I read or possibly in the original magazine, but it was enjoyable to read it again. There was another story that was kind of interesting. It's sort of letters back and forth, all dated sort of early 1940s, between Hitler, the Nazis, the Gestapo, and about a scientist. It was almost like a Stargate type situation where the scientist figured out a way of moving things through hyperspace. It was quite an interesting story, an interesting way to tell it as well. And also, too, there was another one that's was sort of the basis. It was changed a bit. It was a section of the War with the Rull, and Van Vogt seems to do this. He takes little bits of the stories or stories that he did. He'll rework them and work them into a novel or several of them, and he'll change things. And I actually like the very first story in here that was from The Beast. I called The Great Engine. I like that better in the short story format than it was in the novel. And for the most part, the Secret Unattainable was similar. It had some better bits in it than what was in the War with the Rull. And the other ones I don't think have been put into anything. I don't remember anyway. But I'll continue reading him as much as I can. And I started reading Don Quixote, and I've got about halfway through. I've put it on pause on Wednesday, I think. Tuesday was the last day I read this. So I'm just halfway through. Hopefully I'll finish it this coming week. The reason why I put it on hold was I was procrastinating a little bit with The Searchers, because it's one of my favorite films, and I really enjoy it. And I guess the book sort of took me a little longer to read than I normally would. It's by Oakley Hall, in the Western 4 classic novels of the 40s and 50s. It's a Library of America edition. It's a good novel, but there was things that really, really bugged me about the way he wrote, and it just took me longer because I was like, oh, no, why are you doing this? And I just sort of put it down. I couldn't continue reading it, and his style of writing, too, his choice of words at times, I had to sort of stop and go, what? Anyway, I'll talk more about it when I do the book to film, but it won't be this weekend. It'll most likely be Tuesday by the time I get around to doing it, because I was so late getting this read. I'd actually just finished it this morning. I still got to read. I've still got to read bits in here. This is, or I want to anyway. There's a short chapter on the author, which I can now read, and then the last section will be on the film. Also, to break things up today, late this afternoon I started reading, and I only have like 40 minutes left of this, is A. Van Vogt, The Winged Man, and by E. Main Hall, which was his wife. They did co-write a few things, or at least he's used hers as a pseudonym, I think, at times. It's a bit convoluted. But again, I think this was a revamp of something that was earlier. This is 1966. I think it was 66, or is it 67? 66. But it says originally 1944. But I can see there's interpolations from the 60s that have been put in here. It's a time travel story with a submarine going into the far future, an atomic submarine. So I'll finish that in the next little while. Next week I'll be continuing with Don Quixote, and I'll also be reading Warlock. That's from the let's see here. Let's get it back up here. Warlock from the Westerns, the Library of America, and Warlock was written by The Searchers is Alan LeMay. Why did I say it was Oakley Hall? Warlock is Oakley Hall, and it's a bit longer book. It's about 540 pages or so in this edition. And as I say, I'll continue with Don Quixote. I want to finish this up, and also continuing on with the Future History Project, and it's Robot City, Robots and Aliens, and the first one is Changeling by Stephen Lee. The rest I'll be reading 2 and onward. I'll be reading ebook format because my hard copies are still unattainable at the moment. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to these, especially because William F. Wu is not an author of any of these. So I'm hoping that it'll be a better series overall. Now, a few things that I got. I can't remember if I got these last week, late last week, or early this week. I'm not sure. It was from one of you, from my wish list on Amazon. So yeah, so down below, if anybody is interested in purchasing me a book or Blu-ray, there's a few things on there. Oh, excuse me. So there's a list there, and you can choose something that you want and buy it, and it'll be sent to me. So 2 books were sent. One is Laura by what's her name? Vera Casperry, and it was originally published in 1942-43 by the looks of it. And this is a 2012 vintage edition. This will be eventually a book to film because there is a film that I have of this. So I look forward to reading this at some point. It's nice and short. It's an afternoon's read. It's about 170 pages, so that's kind of nice. And the next one is also going to be a book to film. Which I was sort of, I realized that it was available. It's the beginning of a whole series of books, but it was the basis for Fritz Lang's Dr. Mabuse, silent film of 4 hours. I think it's 4.5 hours serial. And it's by Norbert Jacques. And this is an interesting publisher, Bruin Asylum. They do some interesting covers. They got a number on there, 5. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe their 5th publication. I had one before, which was really good. They're a little larger for some reason. I don't know why they make them a little larger than the normal trade paperbacks. As you can see, they're a bit taller and a bit wider. And the font on the back isn't the best, but the pictures are usually pretty good. Except this is a little strange. It's supposed to be Dr. Mabuse, and that's Ivor Novello from what's the Hitchcock film? I can't think of the name now. Late 20s, 28, 29, or 27. Somewhere there, about it was sort of like based on Jack the Ripper. It's a story of the London fog. I remember that part of the name, but I can't remember the first part. Anyway, you'll know what film it is if you're Hitchcock. But it still is a nice cover. But I'm not sure why Ivor Novello's on there. And this is it says one of the very first literary supervillains, Dr. Mabuse, made his debut in Norbert Jacques' 1921 German novel, too intriguing a character to be constrained to book stalls. He was soon launched upon the world in Fritz Lang's silent film masterpiece, Dr. Mabuse, Gambler. It is through Lang's 4-hour criminal epic that most of the English-speaking world first came to know the sinister arch-villain. Dr. Mabuse is a greedy anarchist who assumes many guises and controls a legion of henchmen, willing and unwilling, through telepathic hypnosis. Spawning 5 novels and 13 movies, Dr. Mabuse insidious influences on art and culture can still be seen today. Think Bond supervillains, think evil comic book masterminds, think Heath Ledger as the Joker, unhinged, brilliant, wicked. Virtually unobtainable in the English translation until now, the novel that started it all is available again for a limited run. So there we go. So I'm very pleased to get this. And yeah, there's 4 or 5 other novels and just dozens and dozens of films. Fritz Lang did a second one that was a sound one that was 1930, I think, or 31. And then is one of his, if not his last film in Germany in 1960, which I haven't watched it. I've got it, but I don't think it's that good. But it'll be interesting to watch anyway. But anyway, that's that. And then another thing that I got myself, it was because I was reading the westerns of Clifford Simak. And every so often I look on, well, I was looking up here. I've got the non-fiction books that he did, and there's one edited book that I didn't have. There's one, the solar system, our new backyard or front yard. It's called I Don't Have, and then so every so often I think I've got some of these searches saved on eBay. So I looked up for one that he edited, The March of Science, and one comes up that somebody's listed for £2.35, saying ex-library. So I figured, well, I'm not going to get it anywhere else. I've got that amount. I've actually got £3. Was it £3.36 in my or no, 46 or something like that. Yeah, in my account. So I figured, yeah, I'll do it. I'll buy it. And it came earlier this week. It was filthy, and I cleaned it up with. I was a little too vigorous, but it is not an ex-library. It is in really nice shape. You can see I was a little too vigorous with the eraser there, and on the spine the science. I rubbed it out a little bit, but it was almost completely black. They had a narrow sticker on here with a ISBN on not ISBN, a barcode on it, and I took that off, and that was bright white, and the rest of it was just complete black. So I don't know where it's been sitting. It's not ex-library. It is a library binding, and I am perfectly happy with this, especially for £2.30. And this is like £2.35 with shipping. It's, you never know what you're going to get. It's a pot shot, to do with something like that. But when it's that cheap, you figure, okay, well, you know, what can you do? You buy a, you know, if I drank coffee, it'd probably cost me that much for a coffee or a tea somewhere. So I'm very pleased with this. The only thing that I'm not pleased with, because I've never seen this before, I thought it would be like his other edited one, which it is. It's articles from the Minneapolis Star and and Tribune. However, there are no articles by him. There's a one-page introduction, and that's it. Yeah, it's just shy of one page because it's there, and the top of the page overleaf. So, yeah, I'm glad I didn't pay a lot of money for this, but it's nice to have. Even so, it's got articles that will be fun to read. It's got articles by Isaac Asimov, Willie Ley, and Robert Silverberg. It's got some because Robert Silverberg articles are on archaeology, so those will be fun to read. They're just perfectly fine. Alan E. Nourse on viruses. The sections are ecology, the weather, viruses, fossils, ice age, archaeology, relativity, and that's the Isaac Asimov. Lasers and the stars, Willie Ley. So yeah, so that's what I've got this week. And again, like I say, these were so nice, and I thank you very much. I've already thanked you personally for these. They're very nice, and they will be featuring as book to films at some point. I'm not sure exactly when, but they will be. So again, thank you. And as I say, if you do want to, buy me a gift, there is the link to the Amazon list down below. Thank you very much, BookTube, and I'll see you. Oh, don't forget, on Sunday, I'm still working out the details to get this done, but a new series that I'm starting is Desert Island Books. And so don't miss out on Sunday. It should be posted at between 5 and 8, let's say 5 and 8 p.m. UK time. So don't miss out on that. Take care, BookTube.